What does a feminist look like? What type of person is a feminist? What does it mean to be a feminist? If I call myself a feminist, does this mean I hate men or believe that women are better than men? These questions perplex many Americans today, as recent polls suggest that a mere 20% of people call themselves a feminist. The reality sets in when feminism is described as the social, political, and economic equality of the sexes. When people hear that definition, many can get on board with supporting that. Many popular figures recently, such as Beyoncé, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, and even Barack Obama, have shared that they see the importance of feminism. However, the minute the term feminism is brought up, many dismiss it or even cringe. Many feminist academics argue that the reason people are uncomfortable with even calling the movement feminism is simply because of the notion that female is in the word, as many have suggested calling the movement something else. So today, I would like to set the record straight, to tell you what feminism is not, how gender influences our lives, and why it matters. Psychology needs feminism. To get us started, I would like to again share the definition of feminism. Feminism is the social, political, and economic equality of the sexes. Humorous and blunt individuals have even defined it as the radical notion that women are people. But all joking aside, this is important because feminism is an empowering movement, and it can mean different things to different people. For example, feminism can empower some women to, yes, not shave their armpits or legs, while still allowing other women to shave their armpits, wax themselves from head to toe, and wear a lot of makeup because that's how they want to express themselves. And it's not just about appearance. Feminism is the same movement that allows for some women to solely work on their career and not have children at all, while allowing for other women to decide to stay at home with their children. And that is the beautiful thing. It is about an expression of an individual's right to be themselves, regardless of what societal messages are relayed toward what their gender should be doing. With that said, this applies to men too. Feminism allows for men to be feminine, love who they want to love, or just to even cry when they want to cry. It allows for men to decide to be nurses or to go into education, even though these professions may not be considered manly enough. And the reason feminism allows for this is because at the core of feminism is the idea that gender roles and expectations are fluid, that a person does not have to be feminine simply because they are born a male or female, and a person does not have to be masculine simply because they are born a male. The reality is, individuals can be high, low, moderate, and anywhere in between on these traits and in different situations. Feminism is not a movement where all women hate men, as at the core of feminism is the equality of the sexes. It is true that some women may not shave their armpits, and that's fine. Some women who are feminists are lesbians, but not every single one, and that's okay too. These myths or negative ideas about the types of people that are feminists are rigid, and truly, feminism is for everyone that believes in gender equality. Like psychology, the goal of feminism is to improve lives. And feminism benefits psychology because it can provide a framework for cognitions and behaviors by examining the socialization process. Our ideas about gender heavily influence the way we are socialized. And the truth is, this starts well before we are even born. Our parents want to know our sex. Other people want to know whether our child is a boy or a girl. And if we really think about it, why is this? Because subconsciously we know that gender is going to influence how we react to that child and how the world reacts to that child. We create schemas or mental representations of what our children will be allowed to do, the types of people they will grow up to be based on their gender. This carries on with us throughout the rest of our lives. We see many examples of gender roles or the set of behaviors socially defined as appropriate for one's sex, as they are crucial to the understanding of the world around us and dictate so much of our world. They help us to understand why we choose the careers that we do, why we choose the partners that we do, and even why we make certain everyday decisions. However, they can be harmful due to the pressure to conform, limiting the opportunities available to us. For example, women may not feel as if they can negotiate for a higher salary in the workplace for fear of seeming rude or harsh, a way in which they would then be seen as defying their gender role expectations of being warm and friendly. This is because we have culturally shaped beliefs about what women and men are like and how they should behave. When we think of the word femininity or masculinity, we can very easily think of traits that are associated with this. When we see a woman that is acting masculine, we assume things about her. And when we see a man who is acting feminine, we assume things about him. We see this in the popular media today. By applying a feminist lens, which I do all the time now, we can see how important gender roles are for our daily life. We just saw our first female presidential candidate. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that no matter what your political leanings are, when examining the political campaign through a feminist lens, paying attention to gender roles and expectations, Hillary Clinton dealt with very different things compared to other male presidential candidates. She was constantly called cold. Her appearance and health was called into question. She had to speak of her family, be warm and attractive in order for her to simply appear competent. It is something that women who try to become leaders continually have to deal with, for leadership is a male-dominated domain, because leadership is associated with qualities that males should have and not females. This contributes to other areas in the workplace as well, which is my particular area of study, where because women are expected to take on submissive, warm, nurturing roles, especially childcare roles, they are often left having to take positions where they cannot show dominance, and often left with childcare responsibilities where they cannot take on powerful roles in the company because, for example, they have to drop off or pick up their children from school, missing important meetings or relaying that they're not dedicated to the company. Many companies have now adjusted to this and have made schedules more flexible for families, but this clearly contributes to the gender wage gap, where women still do not get paid the same amount for the same quality of work as men. Moreover, women in the workplace who try to rise up in the ranks are often asked how are they going to balance their work life and raise children, when it is very rare that men are asked this question. Sexism, or prejudice and discrimination on the basis of one's sex, is apparent too often and in many areas of society, whether this be in the workplace or in the media or even in home life. It can be subtle or overt, but contributes to gender inequality and is incredibly important to identify. Feminism can allow for individuals to have the ability to point out sexism and to do something about it. Sexism has many negative implications for a person's health, as women who face sexism are more likely to have negative physical and psychological health symptoms. Moreover, gender roles and stereotypes are incredibly serious and important concepts to understand in our society as they contribute to rape culture. The chances of a woman being sexually assaulted in college are 1 in 4. This is clearly a huge problematic epidemic. However, society is neglecting to examine the societal messages given to women and men. The reality is that sexualized violence is normalized. For example, jokes about rape are common and thought of as humorous. Women are constantly objectified in the popular media, and radically, women are taught to avoid rape instead of teaching people not to rape in the first place. Furthermore, all too often are women blamed for the actions of the perpetrator, often asked, "What were you wearing?" or "How much did you drink?" showing how often society tries to remove the voice of women. One explanation for the reason sexual assault is so common is due to two traditional gender roles. Males are socialized to be dominant and aggressive, and women are socialized to be passive, weak, and fearful. This is yet another reason why feminism is so important. Feminism allows for women to gain back their strength by allowing women to challenge gender stereotypes, realizing it is not their fault to speak out and rise up. Feminism allows for men to challenge gender stereotypes so as to not feel as if they have to be dominant and aggressive. There are many benefits to being a feminist, as research has shown that people who call themselves a feminist are more likely to be engaged in activism and social equality. This has particular strength for women who call themselves feminists, as they are more likely to seek out leadership roles, support other women, and to challenge traditional gender roles, allowing for more opportunity. It can often be challenging to be a feminist. I myself have been accused of many things, such as being a man-hater or being too sensitive. It is challenging to speak in front of an audience that may or may not think what I'm saying is too radical. But the reality is that gender stereotypes and expectations of who we should be truly limit our lives. And truly, I am proud to be a feminist. And moreover, many fields have neglected the unique experiences of women for far too long, including psychology. Feminism has allowed for intersectionality, that is, examining how multiple identities such as race, gender, and socioeconomic status influence how psychological phenomenon that has been studied for many years is actually quite different for people from different backgrounds that have a tendency to be neglected because of their marginalization. Without including the experiences of everyone, respecting those you study, and recognizing that the societal constraints gender puts on us, psychology cannot be a psychology for everyone, about everyone. While there is so much more that I could talk to you about, as there are complete classes that are taught on gender, and people like myself make entire careers out of studying the fascinating topic of gender, it is my hope today that you may leave this talk with a newfound appreciation of feminism. And even if you do not leave here today calling yourself a feminist, you may understand what feminism is and work toward challenging gender stereotypes in your own life. Thank you.